They say aging is a privilege, and it is. But what they don't tell you is how incredibly lonely it can feel. The kind of loneliness that doesn't just fill the room, it wraps itself around your bones. You could be surrounded by people and still feel like a ghost in your own life. You could have lived a full, loud, beautiful life. And yet, one day, you find yourself staring at the clock, wondering if anyone remembers you're still here. Today, we're going to talk about why old age feels so lonely. But more importantly, we'll talk about how to change it. Not with empty promises or quick fixes, but with real understanding, empathy, and actionable steps. Let's start by talking about why loneliness happens as we grow older. Because once we understand the why, the how to fix it becomes a little bit clearer. First, there's loss, the kind of loss that creeps up over time. Friends pass away, siblings, partners, sometimes even children. The people who once knew your stories by heart, the ones who shared your jokes, remembered your young face, and walked through the years with you, slowly disappeared. And while people may still surround you, no one quite replaces them. You start to realize that knowing someone new is very different from being known. And so, conversations grow shorter, invitations slow down, phone calls stop. You scroll through your phone book and it hits you. Many of the names you once called don't pick up anymore. Some numbers are just relics now, kept out of habit, not usefulness. Then, there's the shifting of roles. You spent your life being needed. Maybe you were the provider, the caregiver, the organizer of family events, the house everyone came to. But now, people are busy. They have their own lives. You don't want to feel like a burden, so you stop asking. You wait for them to reach out. Sometimes they do. Often they don't. You tell yourself they're busy, and they are. But it still hurts. And it's not just about relationships fading. The world itself feels like it's speeding past you. Technology evolves faster than you can keep up with. Trends change. Even the music sounds foreign. Conversations seem dominated by topics you have no connection to. Social media, influencers, crypto. You feel like an outsider in a world you helped build. That disconnect creates a barrier, a silent wall between you and them. Even physically, loneliness settles in. Your body slows down. Your energy changes. Things that used to take minutes now take hours. And if you have health challenges, mobility issues, hearing loss, memory slips, it becomes harder to engage. It's not that you don't want to. You just can't always keep up. And so you say no to events. You skip gatherings. You stop traveling. Not because you're uninterested, but because it's easier, quieter, less disappointing. And then, there's shame. The quiet, unspoken kind. We don't talk enough about how shame plays into loneliness. Feeling forgotten makes you question your worth. You start to believe the lie that you're no longer relevant, that your experiences don't matter, that no one cares what you have to say. And the more you believe it, the more you retreat inward. It's a vicious cycle. The more lonely you feel, the more you isolate. The more you isolate, the lonelier it gets. But here's what I want to say to you, loud and clear. You are not alone in feeling this way. Millions of older adults feel this same ache, and the pain of loneliness is not a weakness. It's a reflection of how deeply we long for connection. A very human need. And most importantly, it does not have to stay this way. There are ways to rebuild connection. There are paths back to meaning, back to laughter, back to being seen. No, it's not always easy, but it's possible. And that possibility is what we'll hold on to for the rest of this video. In the next part, we'll talk about the first way to begin changing this loneliness, even if it's been years since you last felt truly connected to someone. We'll explore the power of micro-connections, community, and finding new rhythms to live by. Because life after 70, 80, even 90 isn't about fading quietly. It's about redefining what fulfillment looks like. Let's begin that journey together. Let's talk about the very first step toward changing loneliness. Connection doesn't always begin with people. It begins with you. That may sound backward. After all, if the problem is isolation, shouldn't the solution come from others? But here's the quiet truth. You can't control who reaches out. You can't make someone call. You can't force the past to return. But what you can do is change your approach to the present. You can become more open, more willing, more intentional, even if it starts with just 5 minutes a day. Start small. Take a walk every morning, even if it's just to the end of the street and back. Not just for exercise, but because walking puts you in the world. You see faces, you nod at strangers, you wave at a neighbor. These micro moments of interaction, as fleeting as they may seem, are seeds. You'd be surprised how many deep friendships start with nothing more than a good morning. Loneliness shrinks our world down to the walls of our home. But stepping outside, literally and metaphorically, is an act of resistance. It says, I still belong out here. You might say, but I don't know anyone. I've never been good at socializing. That's okay. You don't need to be. Joining a local group, whether it's book reading, tai chi, art, or even a walking club, isn't about becoming the life of the party. It's about presence. Just being there is powerful. You don't have to speak much. Just sit among others. Listen. Be seen. And if there's no group nearby, create one. Put up a flyer in your building or at the grocery store. Looking to start a coffee morning for seniors? Meet Wednesdays at 10. You'd be amazed how many others feel the same way, waiting, hoping someone will go first. Let that someone be you. Technology might feel like an enemy sometimes, but it can be a lifeline. You don't need to become a tech wizard. Just learn one platform. It could be WhatsApp, Facebook, even YouTube. These spaces are full of communities built around hobbies, faith, memories, or wellness. You can watch videos of people who share your interests, comment, ask questions, join discussions. Slowly, you become part of something larger again. There are also online programs specifically designed for older adults, offering free courses, games, memory training, even virtual coffee meetups. If you have family or neighbors who are tech-savvy, ask for help setting it up. Don't feel embarrassed. Asking for help is not a weakness. It's a doorway. But what if you're not ready to reach out yet? What if the pain still sits too heavily in your chest? That's when the most important connection of all begins, the one with yourself. Journaling is not just a teenage hobby, it's a therapeutic act of reflection. Each morning or evening, write down what you feel, what you miss, what you're grateful for, what scared you that day. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns, triggers, small joys, and from there, you can begin to heal. You are not the sum of your worst day. You are still evolving, still alive, still becoming. Sometimes, the weight of loneliness becomes so deep, so all-consuming, that we need professional help. And there is absolutely no shame in that. Therapy isn't just for the young. It's not a luxury. It's not a weakness. It's a tool. There are therapists trained specifically to work with aging adults, to help untangle decades of grief, guilt, identity loss, and fear. There are also support hotlines run by people who want to listen. You don't need to be in crisis to reach out. You just need to want to be heard. The act of speaking to someone, without judgment, without interruption, can open a crack in the wall you've built. And through that crack, hope can enter. Here's something else to remember. Your story isn't over. No matter how many chapters you've written, you still hold the pen. You can decide how these next years feel. Not perfectly, not without pain, but differently, more consciously. You are not invisible. You are not a shadow. You are still you, with memories, wisdom, and love still to give and receive. In the next part, we'll talk about how reconnecting with purpose, no matter your age, can shift the tide. We'll explore volunteering, mentorship, and legacy building, and how these small acts can reignite the feeling that you matter deeply in this world. Because you do. Let's talk about purpose. Not just having something to do, but something to mean. One of the deepest roots of loneliness in old age is the loss of purpose. You wake up and realize there's no one depending on you anymore. No tasks with your name on them. No fires to put out. At first, it might feel like freedom, but freedom without direction slowly turns into emptiness. But here's the truth. Purpose doesn't retire. You may leave the workplace. Your kids may be grown. Your calendar may look emptier than before. But your purpose doesn't vanish. It just changes form. You carry a wealth of life experience, decades of mistakes, lessons, joys, and resilience. That experience is not meant to stay locked inside your mind. It's meant to be shared, and that's where a new kind of connection begins. Think about mentorship. You don't need a fancy title or a university lecture hall. You just need willingness. A local community center, youth program, church, or even a library often looks for volunteers to help with tutoring, storytelling, basic life coaching. You could teach someone how to cook, fix a bike, tell a story that helps them through a heartbreak. Just showing up can change a young person's life, and in doing so, it changes yours. Or maybe you choose to give back in service. Not everyone has energy for big commitments, but even small contributions matter. Volunteering for an hour a week at a food bank, animal shelter, or local park cleanup gives your day structure. It puts you beside others who also care. You're no longer drifting through time. You have a reason to get dressed, show up, and be present. And in that space, something magical happens. Conversations begin. Familiar faces reappear. You start becoming part of something larger than yourself, and that, more than anything, helps erase loneliness. There's also your story. Yes, your life, in all its raw beauty, is a story worth telling. Whether you write it down, record it, or share it in pieces over tea with someone new, your legacy is powerful. When we tell our stories, we give our pain and our joy purpose. We make sense of what we've lived through. Legacy doesn't have to be fame or fortune. It's the gentle imprint we leave on people's hearts. A letter written to a grandchild. A video message saved for when you're gone. A lesson told that becomes part of someone else's life. That matters. Of course, purpose and service don't erase grief. They don't undo loss, but they coexist with it. They sit beside sorrow and say, I'm still here, and I still have something to give. Sometimes, we wait for life to feel right again before we act. But the healing often begins with the action itself. The first walk, the first journal entry, the first hesitant hello at a community event, the first day volunteering. You may feel out of place at first, awkward, even scared. That's normal. That's human. But keep showing up, and slowly, you'll start to belong again. This chapter of your life doesn't have to be silent. It can be filled with music, motion, and meaning. You are allowed to redefine what joy looks like at 70, 80, 90. You're allowed to meet new people, make new memories, and even fall in love with life again. Because purpose isn't tied to age, it's tied to intention. And the moment you say, I still have something to give, you step out of the shadows of loneliness and into the light of connection. In the next part, we'll explore how rebuilding relationships with family, even when they feel distant or strained, can be possible. And we'll talk about how to find emotional freedom when those relationships never heal. Because loneliness doesn't always mean no one's around. Sometimes it means feeling unseen by the ones who are. Let's talk about how to change that next. Loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes it comes from feeling forgotten by the people we love most, our family. Children grow up. Grandchildren get busy. Lives move at a pace that leaves little room for slow, quiet connections. And even when they do visit or call, something has changed. There's a gap, a silence between the words, a sense that you're on the outside of their life, looking in. It's one of the hardest parts of aging, watching the people you gave your entire heart to drift farther and farther away. And the truth is, sometimes it's not even anyone's fault. Life is heavy, demanding. People mean well but forget easily. They assume you're doing fine because you've always been strong. But inside, you ache for a deeper bond, a conversation that isn't rushed, a hug that isn't just hello and goodbye, a moment where you feel like you still matter. So how do we rebuild those connections, or at least make peace with them? Let's start with the hardest part, taking the first step. Waiting for your children or grandchildren to call might lead to more disappointment. But reaching out, even just a text or a message that says, "Thinking of you," opens the door. It says, "I'm still here. I still want to be part of your life." But it's not just about reaching out. It's about reaching out without expectation. When you let go of the pressure for a long reply or an immediate visit, you allow the connection to flow freely. A short message, a shared memory, a photo from an old album. These are gentle reminders of your presence, quiet bridges that rebuild over time. Sometimes, it helps to speak their language, especially when your children or grandkids live in a digital world. If texting is how they communicate, try learning the basics. If they use social media, ask them to show you how to see their updates. No, it's not about becoming tech-savvy overnight. It's about saying, "I want to understand you, even if your world is different from mine." And when they do come around, try to focus on presence more than the past. Yes, you miss how things used to be, but harping on what's changed, how they never visit, how things were better before, can create guilt or discomfort. Instead, meet them where they are. Celebrate their effort, however small. That warmth makes them want to return. Still, not all family bonds heal. Some are strained, others completely broken. And when that happens, a different kind of loneliness settles in. The kind that whispers, "Maybe I wasn't enough." But here's what you must remember. You can grieve the loss and still create new meaning. You can acknowledge the pain and still choose joy in other places. Some wounds don't get stitched. They just stop bleeding, eventually. And in that stillness, you can find peace. You can release yourself from the weight of what should have been and allow space for new relationships, even outside of family. Sometimes the most powerful bonds come from unexpected places. A neighbor, a new friend at a senior center, someone you meet during a class or a trip. They don't have your blood, but they see you. They listen. And in doing so, they become family by choice, not chance. You have permission to stop chasing those who no longer show up, and you have the power to open your heart to someone who does. Whether they're 5 years old or 55, if they make you laugh, feel heard, or simply share a quiet moment, that's connection. That's love. So how do you begin rebuilding that network of closeness when family feels distant? Start with one brave yes. Yes to an invitation. Yes to a community gathering. Yes to sitting with someone new. Yes to being vulnerable again, even after hurt. Because family isn't always who we were born to. Sometimes it's who we choose along the way, and who chooses us back. You are not too old to matter. You are not too late to rebuild love. Your life still has room for laughter, surprise, even joy. It won't always come from where you expect, but it will come if you're open. In the final part of this video, we'll talk about building a daily routine that supports emotional health and fulfillment. Not a schedule to keep you busy, but a rhythm to keep you alive, heart, mind, and soul. Because loneliness is loud, but hope whispers back. Let's listen. Loneliness often begins in the spaces between our daily moments. The silence in the morning, the empty chair at the table, the long hours when nothing seems urgent, and yet everything feels heavy. That's why our final step today isn't about fixing relationships or learning something new. It's about crafting a daily rhythm that supports your soul, a routine that holds you, grounds you, and reminds you, even in the absence of others, that your life still matters. Because in the stillness, we don't always need more noise. We need meaning. Begin your day with intentional stillness. Instead of waking to the TV or scrolling through your phone, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Breathe deeply. Look outside. Listen to the birds. Say a few words of gratitude for the breath in your lungs, for the sky, for a memory that still makes you smile. This small act is more than a morning ritual. It's a reminder that you are still here, that this day is yours to shape. After that, pick one thing, just one, to look forward to. A walk, a favorite recipe, a puzzle, reading a chapter of a book. This becomes your anchor, a small spark that brings focus to the hours ahead. Nature is one of the greatest antidotes to loneliness. If you have access to a balcony, a garden, or even a sunny window, grow something. A pot of herbs, a small flower, a succulent. When you water a plant, you're practicing care, nurturing life, watching something respond to your presence. It might sound simple, but it creates a sense of connection, not to people, but to the cycle of life itself. And the beauty is, plants don't require words. They just require consistency, much like healing. Next, consider journaling. Not the kind where you have to write pages of emotional confessions. Just document life. What did I eat today? What did I feel? What memory came to mind while I sipped my tea? These notes slowly become a map of your inner life. You'll begin to notice what brings you joy, what triggers sorrow, and how resilient you truly are. It's easy to forget that you're changing, even now, that you're still growing. A journal makes that truth visible. Don't underestimate the power of movement. You don't have to go to the gym or run laps, but your body needs to be reminded it's alive. Stretch, dance, walk up and down your hallway. Try gentle chair yoga. Play your favorite old song and sway to the rhythm. Not because you're exercising, but because you're celebrating the fact that you still can. This isn't about fitness, it's about presence, feeling your own energy and choosing to engage with it. Build structure into your week. Have specific days for specific activities. Monday for cleaning, Tuesday for reading, Wednesday for walking. Even if the tasks are small, they offer your mind something steady to hold on to. Predictability becomes comfort. And when your week has rhythm, loneliness has less room to sneak in. And every week, make space for connection. That doesn't always mean people. Sometimes it means calling a radio show, writing a letter to a friend, commenting on a video, attending a community service. Whether it's in person or digital, one interaction a week can keep the thread of connection alive. Loneliness may never fully vanish. It visits us all at every stage of life. But the power you hold, even now, is in how you respond to it. You can either surrender to the ache or gently shift toward warmth day by day. That shift doesn't happen in dramatic ways. It happens in the quiet, repetitive actions of a life well tended. A morning ritual, a kind message, a moment of movement, a plant blooming, a letter sent, a chair pulled up beside someone new. You don't need a crowd to feel whole. You just need intention and the courage to try again tomorrow. If you've made it this far in the video, know this: you are not invisible, you are not forgotten, and you are certainly not done. Old age may come with its share of silence, but it can also come with clarity, with meaning, with a different kind of love, the kind that sees not just who you were, but who you still are. Start small, stay steady, and wherever you are in your journey, keep going. Loneliness may knock, but you don't have to let it stay, because the rest of your life is still yours to shape.